I got literally so many questions on how to get started. Like, get started. That's simple as that. Like, actually do something. Actually do a first step towards whatever you want to achieve in life.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to episode number 5 of the Idea to Reality podcast. On the show today, we have CEO and co-founder of Avone Media, Arian Ney. Avone Media is a full-service digital media marketing agency based out of Germany. Arian brings the heat in this episode, guys. You will not want to miss any of this show. We talk about things like how to connect with high-level influencers, how Arian actually met Jay Shetty and Gerard Adams, how to provide value without a large following, and why an unsolved problem is always an opportunity. And last but not least, how to turn a negative situation into a positive one. And like you can hear from what I just said, this is all about the how, the micro steps, how he did it, what he did, who he talked to, the action steps that he took to make this happen. Arian has amassed over 300,000 person following on Instagram, and this is someone that you guys absolutely need to follow. He's the real deal, and he really brought the fire this show. Hope you guys enjoy. I know I had an incredible time. Awesome. Okay, well, today I have Arian Ney on the show. Arian, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to come to speak with me in the audience. How are you doing today?
I'm doing excellent. Thank you very much, Tal, for having me. Thank you.
No, it's my pleasure, Arian. Thank you. So, how I like to start these shows is to get some background information on you, where you came from, kind of your upbringing, because I think it has an impact on the person that you become today, and I think it's important for the audience to understand where you came from. So can you tell us a little bit about your upbringing and your early childhood life?
Sure. So I'm a German citizen, right? And my mother came from Iran to the Netherlands and then to Germany, where she finally got to meet my father, who is German. And I was born and raised in Germany, so as mentioned, with an Iranian mother and a German father. So let's say that childhood was always a bit complicated for several different reasons. One of them being that having a Persian mother, you have to understand that German still sometimes can be a bit discriminating. You'll get picked on for your looks, for your accent, for not speaking perfectly, for not speaking your language perfectly. And that was always like some of the burdens that I went through. And moreover, my parents, fighting a lot and finally getting divorced when I was, 8 years old, which was a very unpleasant experience, because I remember going down the stairs from the third level of the house where my parents lived in together, and I would sneak up downstairs and I would see how my parents were fighting violently and actually physically, and I saw that as a small kid, and that's I guess something that shaped me for my childhood. So I would go to school and I would be bullying other people. I would get bullied. I would apply physical violence to other people, not knowing that that's not the right way. But that's how children work. They see something and they repeat it without questioning whether it's right or wrong. What we see being lived in front of us by our parents or role models is what we glorify, right? So that's I guess something that I had to struggle with for a long time, and that's why grades in school at first weren't as good, even though I was always extremely intelligent and always more intelligent than all the students I had with me. But still, I was rather focused on how I could, pick on the next person instead of getting good grades in school. So that's a bit of my childhood. I don't know how deep you want me to go into it, but yeah, that's a brief summary of it.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, Arian. But really as deep as you want. This show is all about you, so whatever you prefer. And I have a question. You seem like you're really on top of your game now, and you seem like a very straightforward, calm guy. When did that transition happen from almost like, I feel like the anger kind of affected you as you were younger and as you were growing up, the physical bullying, or like you were saying, when did that shift happen?
Well, being fully honest with you, it's still happening, but I guess, well, ever since then, I changed a lot, of course. And there was never like a moment in my life that other people like always talk about, like I had this one life-changing moment. I never had that, but it was just like with 16 years of age. At one point, I was like, I started like looking up videos on the internet, and I was like, damn, like I want to get rich. So like back then, that was like my sole main goal, not knowing that's not everything in life, but I said I want to get rich. So from then on, all I did, I was like informing myself about Harvard, Princeton, Yale, and I wanted to go to Ivy League schools and whatnot. And I raised my GPA from 2.8 to 1.4 within half a year. You have to know 1.0 is the best in Germany and 5.0 is the worst. So like getting to almost like perfect grades within like half a year. And then I also started studying law while I was still in high school. So it's like a program for like the most talented people. You can actually study while you're still in high school. So I was extremely proud that I was doing that. And with those first results, I was realizing, oh, damn, like I actually got the potential, right? And that's something that happens to all of us. We start seeing first results. Same thing when we go to the gym, when we see the first gains. Same thing with the business, when we see the first revenue. That's what keeps us going, right? And so that's what kind of happened to me. And from then on, like I suppressed my childhood, right? It's not like I truly worked through it. That's not the case. That happened way later in life. But yeah, I suppressed it. And so I was able to apply to the best business school in Germany, which is called WHU, and I got accepted there. But to finally answer your question about processing all that, I'm still doing that. And I started doing this like 2 months ago by getting myself a coach. I have a coach here in Berlin, Germany, who's like working with me twice a month. Actually, I have an appointment tomorrow. And we basically, so one of the things we did was basically talking through childhood and everything. And for everybody listening out there, getting a coach it can be very expensive. So I'm paying like 100 euros per hour, which is okay money. But it's really worth it. For me, it definitely has a positive ROI. Like by me knowing why I do what I do, I get so much more efficient. Because what we don't understand is that most of the actions that we take are influenced by experiences we had in the past. It's not always rational decisions. 99% of all our decisions are influenced by our past. And that's why it's so important to work through that, to understand it. So when you're about to take a decision, you can actually take a rational and good decision.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for sharing that, Arian. I know that a lot of people like to, especially in the entrepreneur world today, like to show everything's perfect, everything's amazing. So for you to kind of talk us through your hardships and stuff that you're still going through today, that's very, I think it's super helpful for people to hear that, because, people hear that it's not all just rah-rah and butterflies and stuff. It's hard work, and if you want to be the best that you can be, you're going to have to face those things head on. You can't just, like you said, keep suppressing it, because it'll affect your decisions every day that you make as a business owner or employee or whatever that may look like.
100%. And it took me a long time to like actually make that step, go to a coach. Do you know what it took me to go there? Two of my clients. So one of my clients is the most successful fitness influencer here in Germany, and he has a supplement company. And then another client of mine is one of the biggest real estate moguls here in Germany. And they both recommended to me the same coach. And that's the only reason why I went there, because my ego and my pride would have been way, way, way too big. I want to go to a coach or a therapist for like 3 years, but I would never be honest enough to myself to be like, yeah, Arian, you need it, because all of us always try to be that tough and show how cool we are. And you don't want to make that investment as well. It's a bit expensive at first, but like, no. that's not reality. Reality is we all have our issues. We literally all have our issues, and we have to work on that. And that allows us to be great entrepreneurs. If we don't work on our issues, we're dysfunctioning human beings that can never be truly successful and happy in life. And also, like, if you look at all those, I don't know, like 20 to 25, 30 years old on Instagram, they look so perfect, and they look so, I got everything figured out. Like, that's not the case. I've worked very closely. When I'm saying very closely, I mean like lived with them, millionaires in my life, and I know they're not. Like, they make it look like everything's perfect on social media, but it's really not. And they even talk about vulnerability and authenticity, but they're not being vulnerable and authentic. They talk about it because they know it sounds good, but they're not actually doing it and applying it. And so I when I talk about those things, I actually want to talk about what I'm going through, what I'm doing, because I think that helps people way more. Most people, they want to present themselves in an amazing way when I give a podcast. I'm here because I want people who are listening to actually take action, to actually understand what it's all about.
Yeah, I really, like I said, I really, really appreciate that, because I think that's what, at the end of the day, brings the most value to people, because if they see you, oh, you're 22 years old now, correct?
Yes.
So this 22-year-old, he has all his shit figured out. Everything is perfect for him, but when they see that it's not, and that you're still making investments in yourself, getting a coach, and all these things, they're like, oh, well, you know, maybe maybe this isn't impossible for me to do. It's like a morale boost, you know, it's almost like a light at the end of the tunnel for a lot of people, and I think that's super important. I'm grateful that most of my guests I've had so far have been very transparent like this and not pretend to be perfect.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's great.
I'm very grateful for that. So you were saying that when you were in high school, you started studying law, and then after that, you went to one of the nicest business schools in Germany. And during that time, you started to get involved in Instagram and Instagram influencing with fashion specifically. So can we talk a little bit about that? And throughout the rest of our conversation, I really want to hit on the micro steps that you took to become the influencer, and then later on to start Avone Media. So really just to focus on the steps and how you had the idea, applied it, and then created a business for it. I think that's going to be the most valuable and beneficial for people to be hearing.
Sure. So basically, when I studied international management at that one university, I figured out how, or I realized how everything was extremely competitive, and the content we're going through was a bit dry, and I was feeling like I was missing my creative outlet. So after my second semester, I started my Instagram account, and what I just said in one sentence sounds way less important than it actually is. I'm saying I started my Instagram account. What I mean by that is I actually took a first picture, created a new account, and uploaded it. Okay? So think about it. That's what it all started with. Yeah? Because most people always think that you're there with your big-ass brand and your big personal brand with 300,000 followers and your whatnot and your company that's working out well. No, it literally started with uploading one silly picture of landscape that looked like utter, BS, and, just doing it. Just literally just doing it. Because I always get questions. I get literally so many questions on how to get started. Get started. That's simple as that. Actually do something. Actually do a first step towards whatever you want to achieve in life. And so back then, as mentioned, uploaded a picture was like a landscape picture. Uploaded more pictures in that realm, and then accidentally did a flat lay. So I put some fashion pieces on the ground. Took a picture, bird's eye view, and I uploaded that. And I realized, oh, damn, this looks clean. Others don't look as clean. Mine look cleaner. I should do more of those. And then I posted a quote with my own corporate design. And 6 pictures later, I posted a quote again. And I was like, damn, it would look cool if they were above each other. So I did it every third post. And that's when I started getting the structure, which my account is extremely famous and known for right now. I have a triple split. Every third piece of my content is a quote, then comes a flat lay, and then comes me wearing something in full body frame. But yeah, it's very good that you're talking about the micro steps, because that's what's most important and that's what most people don't talk about. But growing that account, I mean, Instagram was way different back then, but it was like a hassle. It was like door-to-door sales. That's what I did. I like went through different accounts. Back then you could interact way more with different accounts, but I basically looked for other accounts that were in my niche that could be interested. I tried out literally everything that you could imagine. Back then, those bots that like follow, unfollow people, like pictures, comment. I did the same thing per hand. I literally tried out everything. And at one point, my content started getting interest. And I invested a lot of money as well in collaborations and shout-outs, which worked very well back then. But nowadays, they're shit. Oh, excuse me. Excuse my language.
No, you're okay.
It's just interesting because you always have to stay on top of the game, because the Instagram algorithms and all the social media algorithms change like so drastically right now. But yeah, basically it was like uploading that one silly landscape photography picture, which has nothing to do with anything of the things that I'm doing now. It has nothing to do with a successful full service digital marketing agency, which is now called Avone Media. It has nothing to do with my 300,000 followers, but it does. In the biggest way possible. So that's quite interesting. But on the way there, as for micro steps with my Instagram account, I've put in countless hours in designing, reaching out, collaborating, creating original content, writing captions and whatnot. It was really like a hassle, and that's what I think most people don't understand, like how much work there is behind successful things, and how much unsuccessful work is behind successful things, because we only see the finished product on the surface. But like, if I have one collaboration with another influencer, that means I've reached out to 10 others or 20 or 100 others and got a denial. And so that's really what it is. Like, behind every picture uploaded, there were probably like 100 pictures taken, 10 pictures edited, 1 picture chosen. You know, it's always my whole life has been like that. Always, for these amazing opportunities that I have to come up, I always had like, I don't know, 99 that didn't work out. I just like try extremely often, extremely frequently, and that's the micro steps I'm taking. I'm literally going for every opportunity that I see that is worth my while. Of course, now I succeeded way more. Like, the ratio got way better. But like, if you just start out, that's how you have to start out, because you don't know what works and what doesn't.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's I think it's incredible what you just said, because for people that are just starting, like you're saying, all you have to do is just start, whether that's an Instagram account, whether that's a business. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to literally take that very first step. And after that, it's a lot of trial and error. It's not going to be perfect. Like you said, for every one picture, there was 100 taken, 10 edited. For every collaboration, there out of one person that responded, you reached out to 10, 20 people. So you really filled up that pipeline. And I think that's also very important for people to hear, especially for people like me also that we're just getting started. Each person you reach out to or want to collaborate with, or even if you're starting a business for customers, you can't just expect each person to want to buy your product or work with you. You need to build credibility, which is what you did. But until then, you just need to fill up the pipeline and put in those very, very long hours. That's the other thing that that somehow gets lost in the Instagram world. You really need to put in that time and that effort to make it happen. If you want that dream enough, you'll get up early, you'll stay up late, you'll put in those hours to make it happen.
100%. And the thing is, like, I give this advice to everybody who's asking me about it, but people still don't implement it, because people are always seeking for like that amazing advice that's like so complicated, and like that's not it. Like, it's literally like taking a first step. And it's so unfortunate, because most people stagnate. They always ask, what is the first step, instead of taking the first step. You know,
Yeah.
It's very sad. It happens to me all the time. Like, all my followers constantly ask me, and it's like, and then in the next step. So the first people, they just don't listen, so they won't want to take a first step. The second step, or the second part to it, is like, they understand they have to take a first step, but they're scared of failing when they do it. And it's like, damn, you're sitting there waiting for something. I don't know waiting for what, but you're scared of failing. And you're just stagnating, which literally is failure. You know, that's what I always wonder in life. Like, if people don't get it, but if you stagnate, you fail. If you have a setback, that's not a fail. That's 100% not a fail. That's a learning, because the next time you won't do it again. But if you stagnate in life, that's failure, because you're not taking action anywhere. And that's why people have to like redefine failure. And I always preach this sentence: you can't fail, you can only learn. But with the time I got older and I understood, yeah, you can fail. Stagnation is failure, you know, because stagnation doesn't get you anywhere. And like, if you now you've heard it, you've understood it. If you're listening to this podcast, take a first step, literally, and don't come up with like BS excuse of like being scared to fail or whatever. If you want to get somewhere, you'll definitely 100% do something at the first step, which is not what you'll be doing later on in life anyways, but you have to take that first step to get there. I'm not a landscape photographer now. But still it started with a landscape picture.
I think that's incredible, Arian, and I think the audience is going to get a lot of value from this. So nowadays, to kind of transition forward, you are collaborating with people like Gary Vee, Jay Shetty, Gerard Adams. Did you start those collaborations once you amassed this large following? Or how did you go about linking up with these quote-unquote famous people? You know what I mean? What did that kind of look like?
So interesting story, but yes, I started doing that when I was bigger, but I didn't need to. So I'm going to give you a brief story of how I got to link up with Gerard Adams, who was my mentor for 3 months in the United States. I basically reach out to him on Instagram. I provide him value. It's one of my main pillar rules. I always say provide value first in life. I truly believe in that, because I know that if you unconditionally give, you'll receive back without even having to ask for it. But what I did is I reached out to him via DM. I have like a small technique if you want to reach out to somebody on Instagram or somebody famous in general. I have this technique where I put on, so write this down if you want to get to know somebody who's like super famous, right? Because on Instagram, everybody gets into the same mailbox, into the same inbox. Like it's not differentiated, it's not split by people who have a verified badge or people who have 100,000 followers. No, it's the same inbox. So chances are very high that if you write a good message there, that you get their attention. So first step is go on your notes and pre-write a text that you want to write to that celebrity or that person you want to meet. Second step, go on their account on Instagram, turn on post notifications. Third step, wait for them to post something, and your post notifications will tell you that they've just posted something. Fourth step, right immediately after, go on Instagram, send them a direct message. And fifth step, go on their recent picture, tell them that you wrote them a DM and that there is value for them. So that's a 5-step process that I came up with on how you get in contact with amazing individuals. And that's basically what I did with Gerard Adams. In that direct message, I simply asked him if he wants to collaborate on a quote, asked him for his favorite quote, and I shared that on my Instagram. And I credited him. That's how I gave him value, because eyeballs on his Instagram account, yada, yada, yada. Then he got very impressed by that. But that was it. So the next step, what I did is I sent him. So I literally stalked that guy. I looked him up online. I looked up what he likes, what he doesn't like, and he was big into art. So I sent him a handmade art piece alongside with a beautifully written, aesthetically pleasing handwritten letter, and that really grabbed his attention because other people don't do that shit. They don't go the extra mile. They don't inform themselves about that person. Saying is most people they they try to get in touch with a mentor, but they're not really paying attention on like making a different approach. They just like do a very generic approach. They'll write like a DM like, hey, Gerard, can you mentor me? You will not stand out of the crowd, right? So you have to get creative. And that's what I did with Gerard by sending him that handwritten letter and the art piece. So that's how I got to meet Gerard Adams. But now you might be wondering like, oh, damn, you already had 200,000 followers. Of course you got to meet him. Well, let me tell you a different story of how I met Jay Shetty. With Jay Shetty, it was a bit different, right? I was in the United States, and I knew this guy from social media, and I really wanted to get in touch with him. Back then, it was not for me, for myself. It was for my ex-girlfriend. So I saw him, and he was on his Instagram stories, and he was currently eating in a restaurant, and he tagged that restaurant. So 2 minutes after he posted that, I was like, I literally just like walked up to the street without saying anything. We were going to go to a different meeting. I just like literally went on the street, called myself a cab, and drove 30 minutes on the other side of New York, not knowing if that person would still be sitting there or not. So I just took a shot. What I did in the next step is I called the restaurant. I was like, yeah, there is a gentleman with a blue denim jacket, and he has brown, dark or black brown hair, styled upwards, and he has a female company. Could you please tell him that I'm coming, that he should wait there? To the day, I don't know if they told him that or not, but nevertheless, I drove there with the cab. And when I arrived there, he was sitting there, and I just literally went up to him and I was like, excuse me, Jay, I don't want to interrupt you. I don't want to be impolite, but I drove all the way from the other side of town, 30 minutes just to meet you. I'm originally from Germany, but I would love to have like a quick chit chat. And I reached out my hand for a handshake. What he did then is he stood up and he gave me a massive hug, and that's something where I didn't have to have any followers. He just respected my grind, my heart. That's something each and every one of us can implement. Can you still hear me?
Oh yeah, I hear you perfect.
Awesome. Yeah. And that's how I got to meet Jay Shetty, And I remember the story goes on a little bit more. I was like, yeah, I don't want to interrupt you right now, but would you be down to be having a meeting with me? And I think that was like in September or something. And he goes, well, I'm sorry, but I'm busy until December. I go like, okay, what are you busy with? He goes, meetings. I go, okay. I see, but I didn't want to give up, right? Because he was giving me a no. What you have to understand in life with persistence is about with every no you get closer to a yes. Let me repeat that. With every no you get closer to a yes. So when he said that he's busy until December, I realized an opportunity because that's when most people give up. When they hear no, they give up. But that gives you the opportunity to differentiate yourself from your competition and to indicate and show that you're special. So what I said, instead of being a wimp and being like, oh, okay, bye, I looked for a solution. I was like, all right, so how do you get from meeting A to meeting B? And he was like, well, I'm driving Uber. Well, I was like, all right, perfect. We have a 5-minute Uber meeting tomorrow morning. Tell me where your meeting ends, where it finishes. I'll be there, take an Uber together, and I get the FaceTime. And later that day, he wrote me a DM. I have it right in front of me right now. He goes, let's meet tomorrow. Love your energy, man. That's dedication.
Wow.
And then he sent me like the details of where we meet and stuff. And look what happened then. Out of that 5-minute meeting, it ended up being a 45-minute meeting in a tea shop, in a coffee shop. So that's literally how you do it. You have to go that extra mile. You have to like go out of your way. You have to do the extraordinary if you want to achieve extraordinary things. And think about Jay Shetty now is literally right now the biggest growing page on Facebook. And he's the biggest personality page on Facebook right now. Think about that. Even though Facebook died a little bit, but like me, a 22-year-old back then student from Germany comes to the United States and just like wants to meet that guy and he gets to meet him. Simply because I set myself a goal, and no matter what, I'll get that creative to get to that person. Simple as that. And last but not least, Gary Vaynerchuk. I didn't reach out to him. They reached out to me. Just for information.
Wow, that's awesome. That's probably once you built up your
credibility.
Your
yes,
credibility and your influence. You were rolling already.
Exactly.
Awesome. Okay.
That's when you like. That's when you earn what you like. Worked for so hard. Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, I love both those stories, Arian, and I'm I'll link the Instagram article, like the DM, those whole steps because I think that's very valuable because, it's like Gary is always preaching the power of the DM. So it's even more flooded than it was before. So you really need to find a way to stand out. And you were saying that a big thing for you is providing value up front. I'm sure a lot of the people that are going to be listening, a lot of them, like me, honestly, we don't have a large following or we don't have the credibility yet that you've built up. I know this is a tough question to answer, but if you could do your best, what advice would you give to someone that has a smaller following and how to actually provide value up front in that DM, in that conversation? What would your advice be for that?
Okay, so generally there are two ways, okay? First way, everybody, like, you might not have followers, you might have not have credibility, but you have a strength. Everybody has a specific strength. If you don't know what it is, you haven't found it out yet, but you have one. So within that strength, you can always provide value. So let's say you're extremely good at hiring the best people in the world. You can tell that person, hey, I can hire the best people for you. You can write, you can make the best logos, so just send free logos. You can make some websites, build free websites. But if it's none of that, there's another technique, which I call find the pain point. So what you have to do is you have to figure out what is currently a bottleneck for that successful person. And trust me, everybody has issues and problems that are unsolved. And an unsolved problem is always an opportunity, right? So you simply have to find out what that issue is. Literally stalk the people that you really want to get in touch with. Listen to read articles, listen to podcasts, videos, whatever it is, but figure out what the weaknesses of a person are, where they need help, and then simply provide value in that field, right? It sounds so simple, but yet again, I can't tell you like that magic one sentence, but most of the times it's hard, boring, stupid research, sitting in front of a laptop and like really figuring out, okay, this multimillionaire who already got everything figured out, what could be something where the 18-year-old student who has nothing in place could help him with, but that's really what it comes down to. I said before, if you want to achieve extraordinary things, you have to do the extraordinary, which sometimes might just be very boring.
Yeah, and it comes back to what you're saying. You have to put in that hard work no matter what you're doing. And I think something that I've seen about you that I really admire is your creativity. Whether it's from sending that art piece to Gerard Adams, like just like you were just saying, find out what he likes, what problems that you can solve for them. You saw that Gerard likes artwork, so you sent him a handmade piece with a handwritten, very aesthetically pleasing letter. And like you said, that's something that people don't do anymore. They just shoot, oh, hey, Gerard, can you be my mentor? He probably gets 100 of those a day, as opposed to what you sent him. That's probably 1 in 5, not a day even, maybe a week. So it's a great way to stand out. And with Jay Shetty, you were dedicated. You didn't say, oh, he said no, so I'm just going to give up now. You pivoted right there on the spot. And you're like, okay, so how else can I get to the solution that I'm looking for? And I think that's very important for people to hear, that it's not always, oh yeah, of course, let's collaborate and do whatever it's a lot of times you're going to get no's and rejections, and handling those rejections is very, very important.
I mean, especially if you're working with people who are like already there, like why would they collaborate with you? What's in it for them? People always ask themselves, what's in it for me? If there is nothing in it for them, there is no reason for them to collaborate. Okay, right. So it's very simple.
Yeah, it's when you break it down, it's very basic, but I feel like a lot of the problems people have, which really just comes back to what you said in the beginning, is getting started and being afraid of failing for whatever reason that is, whether they're afraid to look stupid or whatever it is, that stagnation is deadly. And that's what I'm really trying to help prevent and help people that are in that stagnation just get started, start implementing, and just get the ball rolling. Because after that, I feel like it's a snowball effect, whether that takes months, years, or whatever it is. But just getting that ball rolling is so, so, so important.
I agree 100%. You have to take that idea to reality.
Yeah, you got it, my friend. That's it, Arian. So let's transition now into your current business, Avone Media. Avone Media, yeah, which is a full-service digital media agency, and you guys already have some huge clients. So can you talk to us about that? Where did that idea come from? How did you start executing on it? I'd love to hear the breakdown on how you got started with all that, how you started to reach out to these brands, and how you started helping them, and what you actually started to implement for them that saw some success.
Right. So what I said earlier on, that every unsolved problem is an opportunity, that still holds, right? So I was doing my Instagram account. I was having, I don't know, like 230,000 followers at that time. And the companies that I advertised for, they really enjoyed what I was doing. So it came to a point where there was a new company, right? And they wanted to work with me. They had like beautifully made, handmade grease leather bags. And they were like, Arian, can you promote that? And I was like, yeah, sure. Give me $3,000 and I'll do that. And I'll post a picture. So I look at their page afterwards and I was like, damn, their Instagram page is ugly. Like, nobody's going to buy the product because their stuff just looks so ugly. So then they will blame me for not having any sales. So I went up to them. I was like, guys, I could do this collaboration, but I'm letting you know up front, I don't think you will sell a lot of bags because your page looks like utter BS. So I'm giving you the honest and transparent opportunity to do it or to not do it. And they're like, okay, well, fair point. So what can we do about it? I was like, well, you have to get a good page, invest the money that you would invest in a shadow with me, and instead get a proper page set up. And 2 weeks later, I get a phone call from the exact same people. They go like, Arian, can you do that for us? And I was like, well, why not? Why not? Because I call all the people for that. I know people. And so I was like, why not? Let me try it. So I'm making it sound a bit too easy, right? I was like, can I take pictures that good? Can I run an Instagram account? But I just said yes because I was like, that's an opportunity. It's an unsolved problem. So that's how it all started. That's how I got my first client. And that's how Avone, back then it was Avone agency, got started. Actually, Pavone. That's how it all started. Pavone, not Avone. But yeah, that's how it started. I started working with freelancers for the first year. So I'd take on a deal, a client. I would outsource the work to a freelancer, get the work, send it back to a client, and basically have passive income. That's what I did for months of my life, and I had a couple of grand always like coming in passively, which is, of course, an amazing thing. And sounds so cool, but in reality it's shit, because what happens there is people start freeboarding, the work doesn't get as good as it should be, and you might lose credibility. And credibility is, for me, is something which I've worked so hard for that I definitely not want to lose. So I then, like 4 months ago, I got together with my business partner, Kinam Tuong, and we moved to Berlin to pursue this opportunity here together. And now what we do have is we have a team of videographers, photographers, graphic designers who work for us full time, like not freelancers, full time. They're like in-house, that are here all the time for us, and that I get the work done that we have right now. And that's basically what we do. We provide every service around social media, either for personal brands or for companies. And yeah, that's going quite well right now.
I'm really happy for you. And like we were talking about before our conversation, that you just got another client. Congratulations on that. I know I saw you up till 3, 4, 5 in the morning last night.
Thank you.
And it really comes back to what you said at the very beginning. Right now you have this credibility. You've worked so hard to get it, but you're still putting in those long hours. You're still staying creative. You're still making it happen. And from what I see of you, you're not getting complacent. I see that once people achieve a certain amount of success, they kind of get lax. They start relaxing and everything's going great. And then they kind of get hit in the face like, oh shit, like you can't stagnate. You always need to be working on bettering yourself, providing more value. So I think, kudos to you. You guys are doing an amazing job out there, clearly, with all the clients and the success that you've accumulated so far. It's very admirable, at such a young age to really have yourself established. I'm very happy for you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And do you know in business what the biggest threat is? Big success. Do you know why? Because once you experience big success, people get happy, they get lazy, and they're like, oh, I just succeeded. Let me calm down. Let me chill a little bit, And that's when they stagnate. That's why in business you can never get satisfied. Like, yes, I have my employees now. I have people working for me, but last night we got a client. Literally, we signed a deal at like 5 p.m. and they had to had like Instagram story posts and whatnot, posts on Instagram as well by today. And like I can't just hit up my graphic designer and be like, I mean I could, but like to me, if you have to step up as a CEO, you have to step up. And like when that task got in, it was like 9 p.m. and I don't want to like hit up my graphic designer because I also believe in like wanting to create a good work atmosphere for employees. And so I was like, all right, I will step up, and I have the knowledge to do everything. It just takes me a bit longer, but the result is, being fully honest with you, even better, because if it's your company, you get a bit more creative than anybody else. So I literally worked on a banger Instagram story. It's like so creative. I don't know. I bet like you've never seen that. Like no company out there has done that kind of story. You can like tap on a heart and like it gets bigger on an Instagram story. Like, okay. Nevertheless, check out @BoomBoom if it's still there. Well, it's only there today, so you probably can't see it. Check them out regardless. BUM. Great company. Women sportswear. But yeah. What I was saying, big success is the biggest threat, because big success, once you experience success, it's so easy to stagnate. It's so easy to make the first 10 grand and be like, damn, I'm balling. Yeah, but no, you're not, because your goal was to get $1 billion. So how is 10 grand balling? You understand me? But like coming from nothing, I can understand it. It's like a trap that, the only reason why I know this now is because I've experienced it. I went through it. I made my first $5 grand passive income a month. I was like, damn, I made it, Yeah. And it took me like 3 months to figure out, like, no, I'm jack shit.
Right.
I came from nothing, but I'm still nothing, and I forgot that. And so, yeah, if you ever grow business or grow whatever it is, don't get satisfied with a success. Yes, recognize them, celebrate them. That's very important. It's very important for our brain as well, that we celebrate success, because that's how our body subconsciously understands that success is what we have to work towards, right? We're like eating chocolate. We release positive hormones, right? Same thing with success. We should celebrate it so our body gets conditioned to it. But yeah, don't get tired afterwards. It's such an important tip.
It's huge. Don't stagnation. It's the ultimate dream killer. Whether you started already or you haven't even started, it's something that could stop you right in your tracks. So I'm glad you've been hitting on that, Arian. That's a massive nugget that people really need to get imprinted, and we're just going to keep saying it over and over because it's just so important.
Yeah, and it's also about that small incremental work that people don't see. Like if I have one successful collaboration, right? I'm still going out there now. I still have to reach out to different people. Well, now I get introductions, but I still have to put in the work. I'm still nowhere. I still have to reach out to potential clients. I'm still giving small podcasts because I love that shit. Because I think it's so important to put in that incremental work to get somewhere. And it all adds up, and that's what people always don't understand. They think it's like doing one thing one time, you get lucky, you get whatever, and then you get successful. Like this is how raw as I can get. Like that's how it is.
Yeah, a big reason I think that is because we see on the news or on Instagram these quote unquote overnight successes. But even with those, 9 times out of 10, they're not like that at all. You don't see the years and years and hundreds of hours that have been put in to get them to that point. We just see, the 22-year-old CEO, millionaire, or you know what I mean? So it's the portrayal of it also is putting a big hurt and a big stop for people.
I would like to see one overnight success. In my life, I've never seen one.
Yeah.
In my life, I've never seen one. I'm sure you know how's that? Pokemon Go.
Mm-hmm.
You know that virtual reality game,
right? Of course.
Afterwards, their company was claimed to have an overnight success after their share rose, I think 128%. By the way, I gave my dad a tip on that one. He made $50,000 in 2 weeks with that.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, but nevertheless, how everybody said Nintendo overnight success, and the CEO of a company then said, well, sometimes it takes you 20 years to have an overnight success.
Right. Yeah, that's what I meant exactly.
And that really puts into relation no, it's not that. Even do you know the yodeling kid that's all over the internet right now?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm. I saw that.
It's so funny because everybody's saying oh yeah, he got so lucky and now he's playing at Coachella and whatnot, and he got super viral for no reason. But it's very sad to me because in reality, Mason Ramsey, that's his name, he has been yodeling for his fucking whole life, and he's an amazing yodeling kid.
Right.
Get your shit together. That kid did something for where he is right now. Maybe he got a bit lucky in that situation, but it's still not an overnight success. It's still not. Okay? He still has charisma. He still has the skill set, and he still is a character. He went to that Ellen show, and that's when Justin Bieber saw him, and when he was like, all right, I should do something with him as well. That's when people at Coachella saw him and realized oh, damn, this kid is funny or whatever. But it didn't happen overnight. Yes, that one video in Walmart went viral overnight, but that doesn't mean that he's an overnight success. Not to me. For most people, will be yeah, that's an overnight success. To me, he's not, because he put in the work up front.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. That's what I meant when I was saying that. It looks like an overnight success. That's how it's portrayed. But it's most definitely not. Like you say, he's been yodeling since, who knows, since he could probably talk,
I think
honestly.
6 years. For 6 years, he's been doing something. I heard.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. And, props to him. And it's also not being afraid of what people think. If he was afraid of what people thought, he would have never done that in Walmart. That would have never gone viral, and he wouldn't be where he is right now.
Thank you. That's 200% spot on. Because think about it, being 11 years old, yodeling at a freaking Walmart in front of a camera, how cool is that? I wouldn't have done that with 11 years. I would have pissed my pants. Yeah. I'm not singing here. Are you mad?
Right.
But yeah, that's courage. That's what it takes. That's literally what it takes. Not being afraid to do something that people might not like you for. He's yodeling. Yodeling is fucking unsexy for most people. It's for me. I don't like yodeling. I listen to hip hop and rap, but I respect him so much for that.
Yeah, it's huge. It's we can all learn something from this kid. What was his name? You said?
Excuse me. What did you say?
What was his name again? Mason Ramsey. So yeah, you guys, if you've not seen this video, look it up. I think it'll help you build up some courage to do whatever you're afraid of doing, because if he can go out and do this, then you can do whatever you're afraid of doing. Fear is such a crippling thing, and it's something I'm really trying to help people overcome, because, I was stuck in this for a long time also. You want to be what everyone wants you to be. You want to kind of conform to what they want, what works best for them, because you want to have the most friends or be popular, whatever it is. But at the end of the day, the one thing that you have that no one else has is yourself. You have your own personality, and once you start expressing that, you can really set yourself apart, especially today in such a loud world.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
Awesome. Well, Arian, this has been great so far. It's just a few questions that we have a little bit of time left. So what went wrong, or I guess not as planned, during your journey to where you got today? And what was a big lesson that you learned from that mistake?
Everything went wrong.
Yeah.
There's literally nothing that went. I don't know why this guy keeps calling me. Nevertheless, I don't know what went right in my life. Yes, in hindsight, everything went right, but in the moment, everything went wrong. So it's in the moment, things will always feel like, oh no, this is a setback. But then in reality, those setbacks really happen for a reason. And that's what's so interesting, because life consists out of course, setbacks, right? And those setbacks sometimes might look really, really, really hard. I want to give you an example. So my business partner and I, we've recently been experiencing amazing success. So we go back to his hometown because there was an event where our camera crew was filming. And we were taking the car of his dad to drive around town. So his dad is driving a nice Audi Sports Q5, SQ5, which is a really proper nice car. Everything's going amazingly great. But what happens then? He's backing out the car out of the parking lot, and bang, he drives that car into a pillar, right? So he completely crashes this amazingly beautiful and super expensive car. And as you can imagine, he was super upset. Mm-hmm. And the dickhead that I am, I always go all right. So what is the positive thing in this? So what is the positive in it? And he goes there is no fucking positive in it. I'm yeah, there will be. We'll find out. So first things first, I asked him for 5 things that he can be thankful for. So he lists those 5 things. And while listing those, he starts to giggle a bit, it's not that bad. It took us 20 minutes or something. And I was honestly, I didn't know there was something good in it. but now listen what I understood. He was what shall I do now? Please give me a solution. Because we always look for solutions, right? He wasn't oh, this is so shit. He was give me a solution, give me a solution, give me a solution. I was all right, I'm thinking. And he was my dad will be so upset, I'm disappointing him again, because he crashed that car twice before when he was younger. But I then came up with something, and I was no, this is amazing that this happened, because you know why? He goes, why? And I go, this finally gives you the ability to own up your mistake and be a grown-up person about it. And he goes, what do you mean? I go, look, our company is going so well. This happened to you twice before, but you were never able to offer to pay back the damage that happened to the car. So today, go to your dad and say, Dad, I crashed your car. I'm sorry, it was an accident, but I'll pay back every single penny of that damage. And that's what he did. And that's the positive in it. He was able to show that he's a grown-up adult now, and that he's no longer dependent on his parents' financials. And it sounds so stupid because now he has to pay a couple of grand, but he went up to me the day after and he was this is amazing. This felt great.
That's amazing. What a great story. And it relates perfectly to what we were just talking about. And it comes back to not being afraid to quote unquote fail, but if you're always learning, then you're really never failing.
Yes,
And the only
and I think you have to be incredibly, excuse me for interrupting you there, but you have to be incredibly solution oriented. Being solution oriented is so important. If something happens, it doesn't matter if you can quickly find a new solution. That's always the way that you can, like, go up to the next thing. But if you fall in self-criticism and, like, you start crying or whatnot, like, he wouldn't have been able to make a deal with me today if he was still being upset about yesterday.
Yeah.
Like, that's how it is. Like, if you start, like, petting yourself and being like, oh, I'm such a poor person, like, shut up and, like, try to see the positive. And there is always something positive to it. There's always something positive to it. It sounds so silly, but there's always a reason why things happen. Let me get more dramatic, and this is, like, for some people you might be like, oh, you're a dickhead for saying that, but no. One of my very good friends, Joshua Osterhaus, this is like 3 months ago now, he was in Bali. He was having an amazing time. He was, like, working there on his laptop with his team and whatnot, traveling around. And one day he calls me, goes, Arian, my dad died. Okay? Which is something which is incredibly awful. And I was like, shit. And of course, at first I didn't say anything, but, like, a day or two later I was like, all right, so how can we turn this around? How can we turn this negative into a positive, right? And now he's creating a legacy for his dad. He's showing everybody, like, how his dad inspired him in terms of business, right? And now this, instead of, like, crippling him down, this is fuel for him to keep working harder. He always says to me, I want to make my dad proud, because he knows he's watching him over there. And that to me shows that literally in 99%, let's say 99%, because I'm sure there are things that I don't want to talk about, but in 99% you can find something positive in a negative. And you always have to strive to do that. Always be solution oriented. Always look for, okay, what did I get out of this scenario? What did I get out of it? What was the output? Why did this happen? Because it happened for a reason. And then you'll know, at one point you'll realize, and you have to understand that success is always built in hindsight. What I mean by that, at one point in life, now I'm 22 years old, I can look back. I can, for example, look back on my awful childhood, right, which in that moment felt so incredibly awful, and I can now realize, hey, this made me way stronger. This made me be mature way earlier than anybody in my age. That's why with 22 years of age, I can support for myself. I'm banging. I'm having an amazing company. I'm having an amazing personal brand. All that when 22 years of age. And that's because now I can look in hindsight and be like, it's because my parents neglected me at certain times. It's because I saw violence and I had to cry myself to sleep night after night after night after night. But success is always built in hindsight.
Wow, that's super powerful, Arian. And it's a great quote that goes along with that. It's something that Tony Robbins says all the time, is life doesn't happen to you, it happens for you. Yeah,
that's great.
So
he has some banging quotes, that guy has. Well.
Oh, my God, he's incredible. I'm actually going to a conference with him and Gary Vee and Robert Herjavec in a couple weeks, actually, down in Fort Lauderdale. So I'm super excited for that. It's going to be a really good time.
Yeah, you should link up with them. You should, like, talk to them.
Oh, yeah. I got the ticket that is like
I don't give a shit about what ticket you got. I said you have to talk to them.
Right. Okay, you're right.
You have to talk to them. It's always like that. Oh, no, they have security, blah, blah, blah. No, just go talk to them. Find your way to talk to them. Find your way to link up.
This is a huge opportunity for me, and I'm going to do exactly like you said. I'm going to do whatever I need to do and go talk to them, connect, because those are some of my biggest role models, especially Tony Robbins and Gary. They're a huge inspiration for me, and they have been since the beginning of my journey. So I'm going to thank you for this, all the knowledge and the inspiration that you've provided, because it's going to help me go and execute. And that's what it's all about is execution,
100%, 100%.
Well, thank you so much, Arian. So just wrapping up, I would love to hear where people can connect with you, where we can follow you along on social media, what you're doing at Avone, where can we see what you're up to, and where is best to connect with you?
Well, probably soon in TVs. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, no, you can find me on Instagram, of course. Make sure to reach out to me, send me some DMs. I love conversating with you guys. I also have a free format there, which is called Motivation Monday, where every Monday I have a motivational Instagram story. And look, I'm not. It's funny because people always think oh, he must be upselling something. I'm not. I don't have any product out there in the world yet. So it's literally free value. It's on my Instagram, which is called Arian_Ney. So it's ARIAN_NEY. And if you want to check out our company, Avone Media, it's AVONE media.com. That's where you can see a little bit of it. But honestly, follow me on Instagram and you'll see the authentic raw side, because our website is a beautiful website. It's nice and polished, but real life, we out here hustling, and that's what people should see.
Oh yeah, I see you guys day in and day out putting in that work. And guys, definitely follow Arian. He's one of the true entrepreneurs that are actually out here being authentic and transparent, providing massive value every single day. So, Arian, thank you again so much for coming on and taking the time to speak with me and my audience. This was a value-packed episode that people are really, really going to benefit from if they were listening, taking notes, and paying attention. So, once again, just thank you so much.
Tal, thank you for having me, man. I really appreciate it.
It's my pleasure, my friend. Wow, guys, what a action-packed episode this was. I'm really just blown away by all of the value that was provided during this interview. I really hope you guys were paying attention, and you can always go back and re-listen to this, but this is all about the how, real, true action steps on how Arian took his idea and turned it into his reality. And that reality is thriving right now, but it took years of hard work, dedication, persistence. So you guys can follow Arian. He actually just restarted his account, so make sure to go to this Instagram account. Read the first post so you understand why he restarted after he amassed a 300,000 person following. It's ARIAN.Ney, Ney. Arian.Ney on Instagram, Arian Ney on Facebook, Avone Media. I'll tag all this below, because you guys need to be following Arian 1,000,000%. Super authentic, super great guy, and he loves to interact with us, so feel free to shoot him a DM, ask him any questions you may have. He's always doing live streams and providing value on his platforms. And you can also follow me, your host, Tal Tamir, at Tal N Tamir on Instagram, Tal N Tamir on Facebook, YouTube channel, Idea to Reality Podcast, where I'm starting to put up some content there. So that's about it, guys. We love connecting with you. We love hearing your feedback. So please give us your feedback. Let us know what you thought about this. If you guys got any value from this, I would really, really, really appreciate it if you could subscribe and leave a review. And we will see you next time.